So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us at this Get Ready for the Rugby World Cup on such an exciting year. And so tonight we're looking forward to that at this webinar. And we've got a great team here to take you through the session this evening. So myself, Alex Thompson, my role is learning development. So I'm just hosting this, and then I'll hand you over to your main presenters. And your main presenters tonight are from our club developer team. So we've got Mark Finnis and Dave Laram, who will kick off this evening. And they'll be taking you through proceedings. But in the chat, and this is the way you'll be able to interact this evening, is via a couple of polls and in the chat. But we've got Liam and Jenna answering questions, responding to things in the chat. So please do be lively in the chat. Please set it to everybody. And we've also got Nathan from Sheppey Rugby Football Club, which you'll get to meet in a bit. And he'll be chatting through some of the great things they've been doing to getting women and girls involved this season. So welcome, everybody. Meet the team, and I'm going to pass you over to Dave Laram for a great webinar this evening. Dave?
Thanks, Tomo. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, look, it's a fantastic time, isn't it? Less than 100 days to the Rugby World Cup. I'm just going to go through some housekeeping. So again, typical webinar. If you get any technical problems, my advice, log out, log back in again, but we're not expecting any. But if you do incur any problems, please try that option. Or again, use the chat room if you encounter any problems. As Tomo's already mentioned, we will be using the chat room, and my colleagues Liam and Jen will be monitoring that with your questions, your comments, your ideas and everything. But again, please make sure, as Tomo's already said, make sure that your functions turn to everyone so that everybody can read what you're putting. And again, if you hear something that's good or if it's bad, something that excites you, feel free to use the optional captions function as well. We will be recording this webinar, and it will be available through the RFU's Club Support channel on YouTube. Our end time is we're aiming for an 8 p.m. End time. And most importantly for everybody on the call, the recording and some resources and an FAQ sheet will be sent out this week to all of our delegates. So strap yourselves in. We're in for an exciting night as we head towards the World Cup. Let's crack on. So, using your chat function. Simple task, using the chat room. What one word would describe how you feel currently about the Rugby World Cup 2025? The number is massively going up, so I take it that you are busy typing away. I'm going to go across to Liam and Jen. What sort of words are coming out, guys?
The main one, Dave, which is really good, is excited, and variations on that, which is buzzing. One that shot up pretty fast was unprepared, which is possibly one we will hopefully address this evening, but without a doubt, excited's the most. Someone's a little bit worried about it. We're not sure whether that's worried that they're not ready for it or worried that we're maybe not going to perform, but also that it provides a big opportunity as well for people within our networks.
Excellent. Thanks, Liam. I think everybody who's put excited or unprepared is probably on the right webinar. This is definitely the webinar to be excited about the prospect of hosting a home World Cup. But the unprepared part is that we are in a position where we can perhaps offer some advice and some guidance and signpost you towards resources. So what's our agenda? What are we going to look at tonight? Well, preparation has come up already. We've been looking at different ways that your club can start to prepare for the opportunities, and there are many opportunities. How you can maximise on those opportunities by engaging not just your women and your girls, but looking at a more holistic whole club approach and hopefully also engaging your community. And then the power of social media to increase your reach, but also through the marketing of hopefully the events that you will create to encourage that participation element and obviously the revenue streams that you're hoping to get. So we're going to go across to a quick quiz just so that we can start to understand where we are at the moment. So, first question. When does the Rugby World Cup 2025 start? When we say start, well, it's kind of started because we've started taking the trophy around the country. But when is the first game? The second question is how many matches will be played in total across the whole of the tournament, again, being hosted in the cities around England. And then our last question, and this is where, again, for your watch parties or to get people up to your club and getting them excited about watching the games and hopefully the Red Roses games, what TV channel can you use at your rugby club to be able to capture the excitement of the Rugby World Cup? What are the answers then, Mark? Let's see where we are. So we kick off at the Stadium of Light, Friday the 22nd of August, when England play USA. That's going to be a fantastic opportunity to get people in, get kids playing beforehand, and then obviously all watch together. How many games are there in total? 32 across the whole tournament. And where can you watch it? Brilliant. It's on terrestrial TV. So again, your BBC and your iPlayer are your method of being able to watch together in your rugby clubs and generate that interest, that excitement, and also that revenue. So we're going to move on to a poll. You've already mentioned in the chat, feeling a bit unprepared. Well, here's a great question for you. Has your club started planning for the Rugby World Cup 2025? It's a simple yes or no. But if you could populate that poll, then we can see on a percentage wise how many of you have started putting plans together around how you can capitalize on the excitement of hosting a Rugby World Cup in England 2025.
Great, Dave. The poll's with them now. Most people have. If for any reason you can't see the poll, like some people have done in the chat, please do put yes or no. So if it hasn't flashed up, put your answers in the chat there. But I can see majority of people have done that. So I'm going to end that poll now. And I'll share those results with you, Dave. And so, Dave, it's looking like, it's pretty close, 46 have got some plans, but 54% have no plans at all. And we got a variety about some yeses and some nos and things. So it's looking about 50-50, Dave, for the planning for that. What we would ask you, if you have started to do your planning, if you can, throughout this sort of webinar this evening, you don't have to jump straight to it, but if you could share what some of your plans are, I'm sure other clubs would love to hear what you're doing, so we can learn from each other. So I'm going to stop sharing that one now, Dave, and we can move on to the next one.
Excellent. Nice stats there for us, Tomo, about 50-50. So our second poll that we would just like to capture as a little bit of a sort of starter is based on what you're thinking of planning for. If you could prioritize, and again, it's only a snapshot because I know we haven't asked you beforehand about this, but if you were going to prioritize your planning around what you want to achieve from the opportunities that the Rugby World Cup presents, where would your priorities be? Would it be about recruitment of players? Would it be about trying to get some new volunteers? Would it be about keeping the players that you've currently got or keeping the volunteers you've got? Or is it that perhaps you need to raise funds through events within your clubhouse? So again, populate the prioritizing those key areas, and then when that's done, we'll go back to Tomo.
Great stuff, Dave. So I can see people can go in. You'll need a bit more time on this one because it's sort of a priority order. So 1 is your top priority. So if that's recruiting players, then that would be your top priority. And then say, for instance, if revenue generation and getting people to watch the game and maximising that for your club is number 2, then you put that one there for revenue generation and follow on from there. Retention of players could be 3, etc. So you sort of rate them. Which one is 1 for you? Get those in there now. So it takes a bit of time. As I said, if you cannot see any of these, please do put your sort of top ones into the chat, as we said before. but we can sort of see there. And there's some good things starting to come out. There's some good things starting to come out in the chat, Dave. So Lincoln have hosted a women and girls evening last Wednesday to celebrate 100 days countdown. So there's some good things there. So I can see majority of people have done that now, and I'm going to end that poll there. So the big priority that seems to be coming out is the recruitment of players, Dave. That is the big one that's coming out there. And sort of number 2, 3 sort of recruitment of volunteers are in there, but the retention of players is absolutely massive up there as well. So there's a good mixture there. We'll keep an eye on them. I'll just share those results for you now. It's not quite as clear, but you start to see out there. But the main things is recruitment of players is the big priority that I can see people are taking from here, mixed in with those retention of players and some revenue generation in there as well.
Thanks, Tomo. And what that gives us a perfect springboard to now take that level of insight into the next part of the workshop when we start to look at the preparations and some of the areas to consider. So I'm going to hand over to Mark, and Mark's going to be looking at how you might consider preparing your club for the opportunities that are coming up. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for the introduction. Welcome to the evening, everybody. So yes, we're going to take the next few minutes looking at how we start to prepare our clubs for the opportunities ahead. And to start to highlight some of those opportunities, we're initially going to look at when those England fixtures are. So just some notes for your diaries, and we will send the slides out with the dates. The pool stages is effectively one England game per week. Lead it through the pool stages, and then when we get to the knockout stages, the following 3 weekends, hopefully we're still active and we can celebrate all those events. There is a fuller match schedule available, and that details all 32 matches that will be played during the competition. And as you'll see on various dates, there's multiple opportunities to view games. Now, you may think initially, well, we're just going to look at the Red Roses games, but I'd encourage you to start thinking about the reach of your community and maybe some of those groups that may be interested in other fixtures that are happening during the World Cup. So from poll number 2, we did see that clubs were really highlighting that opportunity to recruit players. And I think really importantly for me, so this slide just sort of highlights some of the opportunities that may present themselves, and interestingly, looking at how it will benefit the whole club, so not necessarily just looking at increasing participation from a female perspective, but also from a male perspective, as well as all those other areas where you can engage communities, educational establishments, and indeed raise money and really importantly showcase your club to your community. So one of the resources that was launched last week was a club activation guide tailored towards the Women's Rugby World Cup. Now, summer 2025 obviously marks a landmark moment for women's sport, with England being the host of the World Cup. It's a unique opportunity and probably one of the biggest opportunities we've had for a number of years to get excited about rugby, get excited about the Red Roses, and actually put rugby on the map and really start showcasing all the amazing things that you as rugby clubs do. Now, throughout the guide, there's 8 individual sections, and you can use these either in isolation or as a group that basically suit your needs. And just to run through some of the ideas that are in there. So we've got initial guides looking at preparing your club, social media and marketing, volunteer recruitment, age grade participation, women's participation, coaching, hosting watch parties. So there's a really good resource that's already been released to the game. We'll obviously send the links out and the resources following the webinar. But really, I'd encourage you to want to view it and then to consider how we might use it as we start to build our plans for the World Cup. as Dave previously mentioned, we're now 95 days away, and you may consider it too early to start that planning process. But those 95 days are going to go very quickly, and the reason we sort of encouraging you to start to develop your plans now, it gives you more opportunity to put together your organising committee, engaging across all the sections within your club to help your events run smoothly and maximize those opportunities that present themselves to you. So just breaking down the plan. So initially, so this is sort of top end level, and it's just about setting a timeline for some key actions that are going to help you keep your planning process on track. So just looking at the slide, we may look at a facility review where we're just going to check that our facilities are clean, presentable, tidy, and we're going to be able to create those welcoming environments. There's also opportunities then, once you've had that review, to put together working parties just to help upgrade some of those facilities or give them a bit of a spring clean or a summer clean ahead of events. As we go through the planning process, and these ideas are not exclusive, so you can have within your plan anything you feel is going to maximize and benefit your club throughout the summer, pre-World Cup, during the World Cup, and of course beyond the World Cup. So we've just started to highlight there some of the ideas that clubs may look to get involved with. So watch parties, community fun days, and match day activities. From that process, really important that we do have a lead person looking at each one of those individual tasks. And in an ideal situation, it would be a different individual so that we're not overburdening those volunteers. From that initial plan, building the volunteer base or considering the volunteer base to help spread the workload so that the events run smoothly, but also different people within that role have the responsibilities, dates of when the events are going to happen, and then just a checklist to say whether you've recruited your volunteers or indeed whether the plan's actually in place. Once we start to build that initial phase, we can then start to look at the events in isolation and the tasks that may be required to complete those events. So just looking across this slide, and we'll choose watch parties as it's first on the list. So one of the key priorities is the TV license at the club valid? Is it current? Do you have one? So a key thing for me, if you're planning to hold a watch party, you must have that TV license to be able to show the games within your clubhouse. We then might consider how we're going to advertise and promote those events, and indeed who we're going to invite. As we follow this list through, we'll just look at the responsibilities that sit behind it. So we've chosen watch party, and indeed John's our initial lead. The task identified is around checking the TV license. So Gina's been taken that task on, and really importantly, taken that responsibility away from John so that he can get on with other things and make sure the whole plan's running smoothly. She's been set the date of 31st July to complete that task, and indeed added those progress comments so that John can see where they are currently within the plan, and then obviously a checkbox at the end to show that the plan is actioned and it's been completed. Following those initial stages, we can start to plan the day itself and actually put that checklist in place. So what did we need to do beforehand, and have we managed to achieve all those things? And then just splitting the activities. So it may be we have multiple activities on the same day. We could have some on-pitch activities, festivals, on the day, as well as moving inside to watch the game. So it's just making sure that those people that are responsible across those different areas can see where the plan currently is with the checklist in place, and then there can be follow-up based on where there needs to be. And more importantly, once the event's finished, what do we need to do following the event? So have we followed up with the people that attended? Have we promoted it on social media? Who've we invited to the next event? Have we thanked our volunteers? Which again, very, very important. The day itself, we'd look to put together a playing schedule. And with that, this supports all those involved with the day to actually understand what their responsibilities are and when they're going to happen. This also supports the multiple events going forward. So as you can see with this one, we've set it up so there's a watch party indoors as well as activity outside, themed barbecues and various other things. But it just ideally shows you what's happening when, and also can help tailor volunteer support so that people aren't there for the whole day doing everything and have those individual tasks to complete. The templates for these will be sent out following the webinar. The other thing to highlight is that from July, we will be launching a platform where clubs will be able to register their events so that we can then promote them via our channels as well. So a bit like the Find Rugby channel that we currently have, there'll be opportunities for clubs to register their events so that your community or people in your location can search by their postcode and be able to find what's happening in and around their area, linked to the Rugby World Cup. Jenna and Liam, if I just come to you to see if there's any questions in the chat on that, and then we'll progress.
Nothing specifically on that, Mark. There's just a couple of questions around when the changes to Regulation 15 are implemented, but that comes in from the 1st of August, so there will be a little bit of a transition from the 24-25 season into the 25-26 season. But yeah, there's nothing specifically around the planning aspects that you've covered there.
Hey, thanks, Liam. I mean, we will also share as part of the resource the changes to age grade regulation, also the summer activity guidance as well, so clubs are aware of what they can and can't do across the summer leading up to the World Cup. So we now move on to preparing our club and just some top tips. Now, these are all available in Guide 1 of the activation resource. And we've just chosen a few of the areas we feel are important initially. So just some questions around your social spaces. Is your clubhouse welcoming to all? You know, do you have lots of natural light? Is it bright, open? Does it help create an engaging and comfortable atmosphere for everyone to be involved with? Is there signage available? So people that turn up at the club, if you think of them driving into the car park or walking through the gates, is it clear and obvious where they need to go so that as they enter your facility, that there's someone, you know, they enter the clubhouse and actually have we got someone there that's going to meet and greet them and welcome them to the rugby club? Toilets, always a hot topic from a rugby club perspective. So if things that we've done to ask many females, and they will have numerous horror stories about rugby club toilets. It's proven that bad sanitary facilities can put someone off forever visiting you again, but good ones can turn your visitor in a member and encourage them to come back. So indeed, it is an important area of your clubhouse offer. Audio visuals. So if we're looking at showing the game within our clubhouse, you know, how many screens have we got? Are they visible from multiple locations? And with that, you know, what's the sound quality like? Do we need to put in, or do you need to put in some additional speakers to make sure that people can hear both, you know, game action and commentary should they want to, but also having those additional speakers in place may help you promote messages within the club as well. Pitches. So if we're looking at outdoor activity and pitch space available. So during the summer, many of you will be upgrading your pitches, putting a maintenance plan in place. Just conscious that the weather currently has been quite dry in certain areas of the country, and this may impact the readiness of those pitches prior to your plans. So it's worth checking across your club what you can and can't do on the spaces that will be available on the dates that you decide. And also we do have within those guides details and support around pitch maintenance programs. Finally, within this section, from a preparing your club perspective, look at licensing, and it is crucial to ensure that your club has put in place the necessary compliance with local licensing laws in good time prior to the tournament, so that you don't have any nasty surprises when we get closer to the events. If you do have any queries about entertainment licensing, you can use our free licensing helpline, the details of which are available in the guide. As I said, there's multiple other sections within Guide 1 relating to preparing your club and supporting you putting those events together. The second area we're going to look at is volunteer recruitment. Now, your club is more than just about the players on the pitch. Volunteers, as we know, are the heartbeat of any rugby club, helping things run smoothly and building a real sense of community. A great date for you to maybe start considering to look at volunteer recruitment is National Volunteer Week, which runs from the 2nd to the 8th of June. Some other considerations that you may undertake. So really importantly, sorry, I haven't clicked on my screen, making the roles visible and accessible. Are people aware of what roles you're looking for? There's a myth within the rugby environment that I can't volunteer at a rugby club because I know nothing about rugby. Actually, if we look at most rugby clubs, there's so many of your club members that have unique skills that can support many aspects of the club, and indeed around event planning, administration and things. And also, are they open to all? So where do we promote and advertise our volunteer vacancies? Do we always go to the same people and give them additional load? Ensuring that your club is welcoming to those new volunteers and making them feel part of the rugby community, and providing that flexibility. So having an understanding of how much time an individual may have to give to the club as a volunteer, and indeed, you know, from work that I've personally done, it's just looking at actually if someone's available for 30 minutes, what are those for 30 minutes a week? What are some of those tasks they might be able to do for us to help support going forward? It also gives the opportunity to split some of those larger roles into multiple roles to reduce the burden on volunteers based on the time that they have available to them. Ensure when you're looking for volunteers, you promote all the variety of roles that are available to them so that they recognise there's some on-pitch and off-pitch vacancies, indeed clubhouse marketing, administration, registration, and various other aspects, or just being meeters and greeters in the clubhouse on your event days. And really importantly, if you start to map out, so if you start to consider those events, and we did highlight the number of volunteers you might require for a particular event, start to map out what roles your club actually going to need to run those individual events and make sure they run successfully. So I'm going to come to you again, Liam, just for one more time, just to see if there's any comments in the chat that I can assist with now, or we'll move on.
Nothing really, Mark. Just a few more ideas coming in around what people are doing around the Lions as well. So utilising the opportunity that presents us with, just tag for across the whole club membership, etc. Potentially bringing in people from external companies, friendship groups, and what have you, to just bring them down to the rugby club. So no specific questions at this moment in time. So you're free.
Great stuff. Thanks, Liam. I'd now like to introduce everyone to Nathan Gilson, who is the Age Grade Director of Rugby at Sheppey RFC, who has done a fantastic job this year of working with community groups. Nathan, if you come off mic and introduce yourself, and I'll progress the slides upon your request.
Thanks, Mark. Just to double check, everyone can hear me okay? Just a quick yes, or just someone just give me a nod.
All good, Nathan.
Fantastic, thank you. So as Mark said, hi everyone, I'm Nathan. I am the Junior Director of Rugby at Sheppey RFC. I was brought in at the beginning of this season, along with some other people who's tasked with increase in our youth numbers. Mine specific is in recruitment. But just to kind of set the scene so everybody's aware of who we are and where we are. So Sheppey is a tiny little island off the coast of the UK down in the far southeast. We're a stone's throw from the mainland. We're also a stone's throw from France. It puts us in quite a unique situation. Our club is a community club. We're very local. And we've been going since the late 1800s. And when COVID hit, we were quite severely impacted afterwards. And not through the want of trying, we never really recovered as quickly and as good as what other clubs did. And as a result of that, by the end of last season, when we come into May 2024, our youth numbers were really bad. So registered, we had 11 girls actively turning up to training. We had about 8. We had 24 boys, and again, actively training, turning up, we had 11. And that wasn't in the same week. Because of that, our youth coaches numbers then dropped. So we had 4 coaches that started that season. That finished that season. Into the Christmas, myself and a couple of other players joined in purely because our daughters started playing rugby, but at the end of the season we lost 2 others, so there was 7 of us in total across the entire division. We weren't doing any schools or community work, and we were just quite reliant on thanks, Mark. We were quite reliant on people just kind of driving past and seeing us, which just wasn't working. So when we took over at the beginning of it was actually beginning of July last year, we made some really quick changes. And we decided that it was time for us to start implementing schools and community programs in and around the island. And the first one we did was the schools program. So we had 11 schools in total. We went to every single school. We sat down with the head of PE of every single school, and we created independent programs for all of them schools. So we ourselves offered coaching. So we going after schools and we coach the children themselves. But we also offer coaching to the teachers. So a lot of schools now, their PE teachers aren't PE teachers. They're not qualified in rugby whatsoever. They don't watch it. They don't play it. They don't know how to coach it. So we also offered coaching them. So come with us, coach with us, learn from us, join GMS under our club, affiliate to us, do the coaching courses, the English RFU courses, learn how to coach effectively. And that started to gain some momentum. With the younger children, everyone got a complimentary slip as to how well they were doing. But with the older children that could play competitive rugby, we actually gave them an official invite, a formal invite. And that was given to parents. So rather than it being aimed at the child, we delivered it to the parents. And it was to say that their child had done so brilliant in a certain skill that we would like to formally invite them on a night to the club to come train with the team, to meet the coaches, and to join Sheppey RFC. And then, as Mark's already mentioned in one of the slides, we made sure that from the point they rocked up, made sure from the point they turned up in their gate, got out their car, they were welcomed by somebody. They were brought to the club. They were brought into the clubhouse. They were shown around. They were introduced to myself. They were introduced to the coaches. We developed a welcome pack for every single child. Within that welcome pack, there were specific sections for both girls and boys that gave them all of the details that they would independently need, and also making sure that they felt right from the start that they were part of a family-run club, and that's what we are. All of us are families there. We're all players. Our children play. Our fathers have played. Our mothers play. Like, we are really, really community spirited. But on our side, we had to make sure that our processes for doing all of this were as lean as possible. So remove any waste, remove any confusion, remove anything that gets a parent to be frustrated with the club or frustrated with us or not sure with us. And let's just make it an experience that they love from start to finish. Quick question there, which I'm going to answer. We made it a policy. We actually made it a policy. We are not parents. We're not there to look after these children. We are there to coach them. We're there to teach them in a fun, safe, enjoyable manner. We're not mum and dad. So we made it perfectly clear to all parents that once you drop your child off, they are your responsibility. Please stay. We opened the club, so we opened the bar, we opened the coffee hut. On Sundays, we do food for them. We started something called Mums and Dads Club. So we started introducing parents to other parents. And that's formed some nice little friendships within there now, within them. And we've started to see them rocking up together on certain training sessions. And just making sure that ourselves, myself as DOR, and the coaches were in and around the parents, talking to them, asking questions, getting feedback, so that they felt like they had an input in what is essentially their club. And it's really, really worked. So parents stay. And what's more important than that, we made sure then parents know that their children train and play better when they know mum and dad, or mum or dad, or whoever is watching them. It's more fun, it's more enjoyable for them when they know their parents or their guardians are standing on the sideline cheering them on. And we made a real big thing of that. We also make sure that when our children train, our little ones train, and also when they play, that our senior team are around. So they get involved with the training. They have one-on-one training. They come to watch the games. They're invited to certain events that I'll talk about in a minute. So we make sure that them parents see that everybody around the club knows and feels that their child is important. But last but not least, sorry, Mark, just go back just 2 seconds. Apologies. But the one thing that we did, which was from myself and a few others, that was absolutely drummed into everybody: if we make a promise as a club, we keep it no matter what. Now, that might mean that there is a financial input on us that, is a bit bigger than we originally thought, or something that we didn't quite work out as a start off with, but we learn from it. But if we make a promise to children, we keep it. So as soon as one of us has made a decision that we've all voted on, from that point on, we're aligned and it goes out together. As a result, in doing that, we run a number of different community programs. So Scouts, we run Girl Guiding. We also did some days with our local cadet services, and obviously running We Love Rugby for the youth, girls specific. We made sure that when we planned them, they were planned in such a way that the entire day was about either girls rugby or boys rugby. And we made sure that whatever we did for a certain area of our youth, we mirrored on the other. So if we run a We Love Rugby event for girls, we run a Love Rugby event for boys. If we done the Girl Guiding, we run the Scouts. If we did a match day meal for the girls, which was really successful, we've now got one planned for our youth boys as well. So everything we did for the girls, which was our initial drive, we absolutely made sure we mirrored for the boys. Thank you. And in doing that, sorry, Mark, that's it. Yeah. So in doing that, we started to progress. The main thing though was we didn't have enough volunteers. As children started to come in, we had to sort of react to that. So we again sat down and sort of decided how we were going to help our volunteers progress within the club, how we would get them in, how we would make them become excited about wanting to be a part. So we just gave them incentives. We reduced their membership. So anybody that actively coach got a reduction in their membership, whether that's if they're still a player, they got a reduction in their player membership. If it was just social, they got a reduction in their social membership. We've set up an agreement with them that if they coach for a certain amount of time, the club will pay for their courses. Each year that they put into coaching, that becomes a little bit less and less. So essentially they get free courses by the end of it. We gave them the tools that they need. So we made sure that they had the equipment, they had first aid, they had all of the documents that they needed, they had access to all of the links they needed, they had access to all of the websites they needed. And then last but not least, we gave them protection and support all the time. So myself and a few others made sure that we were available 24/7. So just when we left the club doesn't mean we stopped. We take phone calls all sorts of various times, days, nights, weekends, and weekdays. But we make sure that if they volunteer for us and they're actively coaching, they get the answer they need as quickly as possible. In doing so, we decided to run a couple of initiatives. So we reached out to past players, people that had left us and gone to either another rugby club or just decided that they hadn't wanted to coach for a while, but still held qualifications. We reached out to them and asked them how we get you back, give us some feedback, tell us how we get you back coming again. We did the same with present players. We had a number of players that had unofficially expressed that they would like to be involved, but never really took it anywhere. We started a program where they were able to come to us and say, look, we want to run a team, we want to coach, we want to be involved with A, B, and C. And then myself and a few other people worked with them, got them a team, helped them develop their team, courses, merch, whatever they needed. We made sure that they knew that they were appreciated. And then last but not least, hear this quite a lot, that volunteering is a thankless task. And let's be honest, it shouldn't be. So we made sure that we award them and they reward them for volunteering. We make sure that they know they are people that we love and adhere, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we started setting up a number of sort of schemes that will be running from the end of the season on. So like a volunteers day where they all get to come to the club and use the facilities. For us, we've got a planned trip away for them. We've ordered them bits and pieces that they get to have from the beginning of next year. And we've also now got a nice sponsor so that all of the coaches get, as of the start of the next season, they all get their own coaching gear. So we want people to know that they are appreciated. And where we are now. So we brought in 122 new players this season just by doing exactly what I said we would do, which is a schools program, community program, and making people feel welcome. And we also grew to 22 coaches, which is a growth of three, as you can see, they're 358% overall and that was in less than 10 months. Because we mirrored everything, because we made sure that the boys were just as appreciated as the girls, just as needed, just as wanted. We grew that 50-50 split pretty much all the way. There's literally a couple of children within that. Girls are slightly beating boys at the moment, but it's going really, really well. We restarted our under 12s, under 14s, and under 16s girls. They're now all actively playing matches competitively with our clubs. We've developed under 9s, under 11s, boys under 12s, and are now playing regularly. Under 8s and below grew 100% on our previous year. But what was absolutely amazing for us is our retention. Not one child left throughout the entire year. Not one parent come to us and said they were unhappy. Not one parent come to us and said that there was an issue of any kind, as in something that could be quickly resolved. We kept every child. And it has been absolutely fantastic this year in what we've done. Obviously, we're not stopping. We're growing that now into the World Cup. So we've got a number of events planned and evenings planned and weekends planned where all of the youth are involved. And next year, we're even growing it even further. So we're actually kicking off. So like I said, we're mirroring girls and boys. Well, next year, we're actually going to mirror the youth. That's exactly what the seniors do. So if the seniors have a meal, the youth will have a meal. If the seniors play in a festival, we're going to organise a festival for the children. If all the seniors obviously go on tour, as a lot of us know. Every year, all of our youth section will go on tour somewhere. We're also looking at hosting tours as well. So just by making some very simple promises and backing them promises, it's been a great year, and something that we want to continue into next.
Nathan, an amazing story. Thanks ever so much coming on. I see there's a lot of love on and applause and things coming through the screen towards you. So thank you for your time this evening. Nathan will be sharing his email address, or we'll be sharing it with him, the resources, so that if anyone wants to contact him and ask for more detail about some of the activities that he's done, he's more than happy to support other clubs going forward. But Nathan, from me, massive thanks and massive congratulations on everything you've achieved over the last 12 months.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
I'd like to now introduce Dave back into the webinar. Dave is going to take us through maximising some of those opportunities.
Well, how can I follow what Nathan's just been talking about? Anything I say now is, that's inspiring. When it comes from the RFU, it's good. When it comes from a volunteer who's made a change in a rugby club, all of a sudden people think, yeah, I can do that. So, wow, brilliant. Right, what are we going to look at? Maximising opportunities. So what we did here was we just kind of looked at the guide, and we spoke to Steve Smith at the RFU, who's our sort of business manager who works with clubs on how they can develop the business side. And we just really looked at some top tips. And again, where you can see a picture up in the top right-hand corner where it's got a little book with a 1 in, it's because it's chapter 1. It's like Ronseal, does what it says on the tin. So what are the top tips around you maximising the many opportunities that the Rugby World Cup presents? Well, realistically, it's driving the profile of your club. And again, I think Nathan's already sort of like talked about how Sheppey is now, part of the Sheppey community, the schools, the people and everything. So again, I can't follow that one, can I? What other ones? Go on then. What's my next one, Mark? So Mark's already talked about the planning as such. But again, the top tip really is, and this is my fear, if we don't plan an activity, how are we going to draw people into a rugby club to then become part of either the recruitment, the retention, the revenue, or developing the partnership? So again, looking at how we can have a robust marketing plan during that World Cup window, and obviously the celebration afterwards, win, lose or draw, on how we can maximise the effect during the summer months as well. It should be nice and warm, hopefully, unless we've had summer already. I'm not sure. We might have had it a couple of weeks ago. Next one, Mark. Thinking about the events that you might be bringing into your rugby club, it's you looking at, or not necessarily you, but working with your food and beverage to come up with some really attractive packages that appeal to the audience that there, whether it's the little ones playing rugby before there's a game, whether it's mixed touch, perhaps getting the barbecue out, but it's how can you maximise what you're offering so that people are not leaving your event to go and get coffee or better food somewhere else, and obviously making sure that it's affordable. So again, it's a bit like, the better the menu, the less chance of me going somewhere else to find me food and me drink. What's next, Mark? I'm really fortunate. I look after the clubs in Berkshire, Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire, and we're not far from Twickenham, and we're not far from Northampton, we're not far from Bristol. So a lot of my volunteers are likely to go to games. Perhaps it's not the same for you at your club, I don't know. But how can we use that sort of like social media opportunity of people either having fun at your events or having fun at the group games, the quarters, the semi, the final? How can we keep this Rugby World Cup momentum going to excite, and then using that picture to paint enjoyment to anybody else? If there's enough pictures of young people enjoying the sport, whether it's watching it or playing it or making the different crafts that are associated with it or X, Y, and Z, other people might think, I'd like to have a go at that. So again, how can you bring this opportunity to life through the power of an image? And then my last one, Mark, what's my last one? Well, this was a nice little one. I'm not sure we can get the younger ones gambling because of law restrictions, but how could you bring the excitement of a Red Roses game in the clubhouse by perhaps running a sweepstake linked to the score, where, you know, money can either go to the winner, with some going back to the youth section or the girls section or back into the charity pot or something like that? How can you create an excitement about a score prediction that's monetized so that the winner receives some money, but perhaps there's money coming back into your club or to a charity that you're supporting? So they're just some top tips. But again, realistically, it's going to be in chapter 1 of the resource that you'll receive after this workshop. So when we look at social media and marketing, again, if we move through to the next slide, Mark, realistically in chapter 2, we talk about the before, the during, and the after. How can we build that excitement? How can you promote your events? How can you encourage new people to come and get involved rather than keep trying to get the same people to come to the same events at the same club? How can we get more people through the door so that we can get excited, so we can get more participation going, more volunteers, more revenue, more everything? Why not? And then there's that during the tournament bit. Again, we've already talked about it. How can we use the power? Look, we've got Ellie there with a camera taking photos of fans. You know, how can we use this so that we can really excite people and try to get people connected, not only to rugby, but to the event, the community, and X, Y, and Z? But it doesn't stop there. After the tournament, how can we keep this momentum going? How can we use social media to be able to market the new season, the new opportunities, the age groups that need, I think every age group needs new players, but how can we get more players into our girls, our women, our boys, our social mixed touch, our SEN groups, our walking rugby? How can we keep the momentum going by coming up with new ways, new events to ultimately inspire people to pick up an egg-shaped ball, move forward, pass backwards, and then the benefits of the social engagement, health benefits, a whole lot. Let's get excited, guys. This is a brilliant opportunity for us to be able to inspire generations and then bring them back. But got some good news. This wouldn't be the RFU without supporting you further. So what we've been looking at, working with our marketing team, is we're going to be providing our rugby clubs in early July through the community game update with various marketing assets and templates for you to use. We're going to take some of the design away from you, the burden of trying to design something. Why design it when we'll design it for you? So again, look out for the community game update that will come out in July, and then you can use these assets to start to build that interest, that momentum, and ultimately imagine the power of all of our rugby clubs behind our Red Roses, working hard on recruitment, retention, partnerships. And then imagine if we win. Imagine how many girls, women, boys, men could be knocking on our door in September wanting to play this fantastic game. I think I'm handing over to you, Mark. Back to you, mate.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, indeed, you are. So we're starting now to look at some next steps. Obviously, we've had quite a lot of information passed on to you this evening. And what we're trying to do is generate some of that excitement as we lead up to what will be an amazing year of rugby. So just looking at what next. So what we'd like to understand is two things that you plan to do following this webinar. And if you can populate that in the chat for us over the next minute or so, and we will just progress the slides as we do that. So really interested to know what's your takeaways It could be some of the things that Nathan shared. It could be some of the top tips that Dave and myself shared. What we're really trying to encourage you to do is, it's a bit of a call to action, really. What are we going to do to get excited about that World Cup and maximise that opportunity that presents itself to us? We could start populating in the chat, and I'll just move on with some other things that are happening in the very near future. So the next series of the Rugby World Cup webinars will be on Wednesday, the 11th of June, and the registration links will be sent out as part of the resources. We've also got, keeps jumping on. We've also got our third World Cup webinar on the 7th of July, and we really start to look then is what's happening during the World Cup and indeed beyond at your club. So we're really starting to bring those plans to life and starting to add some momentum to all your plans and the work you've been doing across the summer. A date I want you to put in your diaries is the weekend of the 3rd to the 6th of October, and we're going to be having the Ultimate Rugby Weekend. So we're hoping for a superb World Cup across the summer, and what we want to do is give all your activities a huge boost. Details of this will be provided in the community game update on the 10th of June, and indeed we will start to bring it to life in that webinar on the 11th of June as well. But just starting to think about how you might, as it says on the slide there, add some wow factor after the World Cup to some of the things that you want to do. And I would encourage you to register to that 11th of June webinar, because you'll be able to find the opportunities that will be available to you. Last thing I want to mention before I come back to the chat is the trophy tour. So the trophy tour has started. It's starting to move around the country. So last week we had it in London for 3 days. Over the weekend it moved down to Brighton. It's now, as we speak, heading down to Exeter, where it will be tomorrow, and across Devon over the next 2 or 3 days. As I say, all these dates will be available on the slides and information, but I would encourage you to get down to those venues, have that opportunity to have your picture taken with the newly unveiled World Cup. Liam, or Jenna, let's come to Jenna this time. Just looking at the chat and some of the things that clubs are planning to do over, the 2 things they're looking to do following the webinar.
Yeah, there's quite a big range coming out, which is great. There's things around talking to other RFU staff around facilities, a lot around linking up with Girl Guides and Scouts, which is great. And as was mentioned earlier, it's very hot off the press and it's moving its way around the country. Planning watch parties, trying to raise awareness across the whole club, it not just falling under women and girls. I think Nathan's example has been fantastic about how if you work hard, you can make a difference in terms of the whole membership, whole club. So it doesn't necessarily have to sit with women and girls. So there is definitely stuff around that. Holding events around matches. The photo wall is a great idea. Engagement in local schools, talking to committees, trying to engage local communities, get in touch and walk in rugby games around that 22nd of August on that Friday night. So trying to showcase lots of different versions of the game across the whole club. What else is there? Increasing the promotion of where people can watch the games. Then a few comments about it the trophy not going to the Isle of Wight, but we'll skirt over that for now. Sorry about that. Looking at brownies, local schools, girls only rugby, I think there's a real good range, to be honest. So it sounds really good, and hopefully people feel from following the webinar, with all the resources that's going to be sent out, people feel confident now to start making some plans if you've not already.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jenna. And just a couple of things from the points you made there. Indeed, the trophy tour is going to the host cities, so it can't unfortunately go to every rugby club or every county as it moves its way around the country. The other thing is the importance of those Girl Guide and Scout links. So the Scout links the Scout link is a national program that clubs can sign up to, and as of last week, the Girl Guiding offer is available to all regions across the country as well. So it was initially started in London and the South East. It's been a huge success, and now that's rolled out across the country too. On the screen, you'll see there's a slide there detailing some of the support. All this will have links embedded so that you can access support and assistance as you start to build those plans and look for resources to help you deliver those. Just as we start to finish off, so Rugby World Cup launched a video, and it's effectively titled "This Energy Never Stops." And for me, the energy starts now. We build the momentum as we head towards the World Cup. We elevate it during and celebrate it after. So just going to click through the video as we draw the webinar to a close.
Women's Rugby World Cup, England 2025.
Le moment tant attendu approche. Le public est prêt.
I was born for this.
Would you write off the reigning champions?
A new generation of players ready to set the tournament alight.
Mais t'as vu le dernier match de Mana FPV? Elle a dominé.
La plus jeune capitaine française de l'histoire est gonflée à bloc.
Holyfield scores all tries.
England are surely still hurting, but that was then. This is now.
Everything's at stake here. Other teams are hunting Renee Holmes in the Blackburns.
Van is so tough. Can she carry the nation to glory?
These players keep raising the bar higher and higher in search of rugby immortality. When this tournament's over, who will history remember?
Just a video there to inspire you as you go on throughout the summer, joining our other webinars and things, but really sort of driving that ambition and building that excitement around the Rugby World Cup. So finally from me this evening, thank you. So thank you to everyone that's attended this evening. We truly value the support of all our club volunteers out there. We recognise that the game wouldn't be played, administered, enjoyed without all the efforts that you do. And I think one thing we probably don't do enough is thank you all. So thank you all for attending. My other thanks this evening must go to Nathan. Nathan, fantastic story of everything you've achieved over the last 12 months, and look forward to seeing where you get to by this time next year, and indeed what you do over the World Cup. And finally, thanks to Alex, to Dave, to Jenna, and to Liam for assisting this evening and presenting on the webinar. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see some faces. Have a good evening, everybody. Have a successful summer, and we look forward to seeing you all again on the next set of webinars.